you know, first getting started, like easy. Oh, I got super motivated, right?
Dreaming about sugar.
Yeah, yeah. How about you, James?
Yeah, it's all good. You know, pretty focused usually. So I'm after it, man.
Atta boy. Um, yeah. Have you guys read The Atomic Habits?
No.
Okay. The Atomic Habits, I should make that like a client read. Um, like maybe get like brownie points or something, and I throw out some like meal prep sessions or something if you buy the book. But it's super good. It's a long read, but it's really, really good. And it's all based around habits, and the compound of habits, right? Like long term. And I think I was talking to you a little bit about this too, James. But you know, I think it's like if you move the snout of a plane 1 degree, like say you're going to Florida, you move the plane 1 degree, it'll end up in like New Jersey or New York or something like that. It's like it's just 1 degree, like one small degree. And then the Chinese bamboo tree, it's just like the compound of like habit, right? Day in and day out. But like the Chinese bamboo tree grows up to 90 feet, which is tall. I don't know if you know that. 90 to 100 feet is really tall. And so it's really interesting because when they plant the bamboo tree, the Chinese bamboo tree, it doesn't sprout like an inch, dude. It doesn't move at all, right? And it does this consecutively for 5 years straight. And then once it hits about 5 years, somewhere around that duration of time, it sprouts 90 feet in 90 days.
Wow.
So you look at something and you go, man, I don't know. Like you look at it for what it is rather than what it can be, right? It's just like the plane, like 1 degree off, right? Like you end up on the complete other side. Like you're going from hot to cold, like just like that, just like the bamboo tree though. It just talks about this like the power and the power behind a habit and making habits easy and starting them day in and day out. And just like the more you do them, right? And like it's you got to read the book. It's really good. I haven't finished the book. I'm still in the book. But like, dude, the first what is it, 3 chapters are like, I mean, you actually like the first chapter is scary because you start reading it and you're like, oh, like you literally question your whole entire life because it's all based around this habit and you're a byproduct of your environment. So it talks about like even like success and stuff and like all this stuff, your health, like every like your whole entire outcome of your whole entire life is related around the environment you were grew up in. And like I mean, like they did all these studies, like so just tons of studies, tons of research. And even like these people that were like, okay, so they took these kids, they got consent from their parents, right? And they did a study on these kids, and they said, can we make these kids like world class chess players by starting them at the age of like 5, right, playing chess consistently, like all the time, right? By like age 10 or 11, both the kids, I think they were like twins, both became like world class chess players because they had them like in the environment playing, reading books around chess, like just tons of crazy things like that you wouldn't even believe, right? And it's just like, wow, that's super interesting, right? Like you're like, well, how, right? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's super interesting. So, it's just like your body, like it may not make changes right away. You start looking at it for what it is, um, rather than what it can be. Like 90, even like 90 days, just like the tree, like it's actually interesting that it takes the tree 90 days. Like 90 days, typically 12 weeks, 15 weeks is a normal program, right? It's typically a duration of time that they have for program design, right? Even like a prep is 15, 16 weeks for a competitor, a bodybuilder, right? Even for, you're talking 8 weeks, 10 weeks for a marathon, 6 weeks for a marathon. Like, but 90 days takes about 90 days for your body to go through that real anabolic effect, right? Like you go through one, phase two, phase three, every 30 days, your body goes through significant drastic changes. But you never see it the first time, the first month, the first couple of weeks, first couple of days, right? Even the second month, you're like, man, where's this change? I'm not seeing anything, but you're putting in the work, right? Like you're in the soil. You're in the soil, you're there, you're getting the water, right? You're getting the nutrients, right? You're getting the sunlight, but you're like, why am I not growing? Why am I not changing? Why is the fat not coming out? And then like, dude, well, long behold, boom, just like that, like your body changes. It's just like that bamboo tree. But I had who was it? Jason. You guys have to reach out to him. He posted some meal prep stuff in there. But he hadn't seen changes for like I think it was like 3 weeks or something, right? And I said, I nailed it down to the day. I said, oh, it's been 3 weeks, yeah. And he's like, so what's your and his nutrition was like dialed in, dude. And I was like, okay. So then I said, give it two more check-ins. And I don't mean like, oh, let's just check on it. Two more check-ins. On our second check-in, not this next one, but the one after that, I was like, I bet you drop like 10 pounds out of nowhere, right? We check in that second time around. He's like, hey, dude, so I got some freaking badass news. And I'm like, what's up? He's like, dude, I dropped 12 pounds.
Wow.
It just came off. And he's like, my wife said she could see like my little V, and this guy's like, he's in his 50s, he felt great, right? But like it just fell off. And then after that, it just kept going and kept going and kept going. And it's interesting because even I gone through some of those same stages, right? I'm sitting there, I'm working my butt off. Like I'm like, dude, I have my nutrition dialed in. I'm going 5 or 6 days out of the week, like more than you need to even in this program. I mean, I'm eating every 2 hours consecutively. Like I'm doing my cardio back to back, and I'm like looking at my body, and I'm like, dude, I'm like actually drained. I'm like, is this worth it? Like I'm getting no change. Like what am I doing wrong? Like I don't understand. Like I'm applying all this science and this crap and yada yada, right? And I keep going, and then I'm like, I don't get it. And then just as like I was telling you, Dante, right when I'm hitting it, right when I'm hitting it, I'm like, why can't I get this? And then like right when I'm hitting all that turbulence, dude, like the next week, my body just it all falls off. I mean, dude, like veins popping out everywhere. I was like, whoa. Like I was literally like, this is so exciting. Like it's worth it, right? Like I'm doing it. Like this is great. Like, muscles are popping out. I'm going to the gym and like I feel full when I'm getting my workouts in. But I mean, it took like this was like 2 months in, dude. And I'm like, what in the world? So just like the Chinese bamboo tree, right? It's just like takes 90 days, and then it 5 years, and it shoots up 90 days, shoots up in 90 days, 90 feet. Incredible, right? But long as you stay committed to a plan, which is this is a plan you're following, everything's gonna go great, right? You don't know unless you quit. You don't know how far you can go until you've gone too far, right? You only become a black belt. A white belt only becomes a black belt if they don't quit, right? You've heard that. But you got to be super committed to one plan, one way, and just know that it's going to work. And you got to like, you can't like back out on yourself. Like that's that whole mindset. Like a Navy SEAL is so committed to their mission. They're so committed to their mission that it doesn't matter. Like they create all these scenarios. They create all these plan Bs, right? Oh, what if this happens? What if that happens, right? but it doesn't matter because they're still committed to their mission. Like they're so committed that they're willing to die to try to complete the mission. Die. That's how committed they are. A mom's so committed that to her child, like keeping her child alive, that I mean, you heard the stories, like they'll lift a whole entire car off a kid, pull a kid out of an alligator's mouth because they're committed to their children, right? They go the 9 months of pregnancy, the whole 9 months of pregnancy, right? Through this pain, like feeling like horrible about their body, like it's just it doesn't childbirth, but they're committed to, seeing the beauty that comes with it, right? But this commitment, it's huge, right? And just making sure that you're committed to the plan all the way through. And and it's like you've heard of the greener pastures, right? Like the grass is greener on the other side. Oh yeah, yeah. Look at the grass over there, right? But man, look at that guy's grass, dude. Like it sprouts, it's leveled out, it's super vibrant and green. Like, and then you're over here looking at your like chump grass. It's got some weeds. It's like all burnt up. You're like, what the hell? And then you're like looking over in the neighbor's yard, not realizing that this guy has spent all his time committed to his grass and his craft, to perfecting it, right? He was committed to that yard. So if you spent the same amount of time as he did on his yard, you'd have these amazing results with your grass, right? But you also got to be like super relentless with this stuff. Like when you're committed to your plan, be super relentless, like a freaking wheat or weed. You know those weeds, like weeds, those little things that grow in the crack of your what is it, the crack of your driveways and shit. You know, Home Depot can't figure that stuff out still. They're still like Menards and them are like, what the hell? How do we create a thing around this? But you got to be committed. You got to be relentless. You got to create good habits. You got to stay committed to the plan, like a Navy SEAL, like a mother, right? And know that long after the feeling is left, you're still on the path. You're still going and you're not quitting. And then by the time this 90 days is up, you're like, dude, hey, like, I'm super proud of myself. You're looking in the mirror. You're like, this is the individual I became. Like, you adopted this new identity and self, right? And you said goodbye to this old self. And there's a lot of power in that, and you're not just going, oh, this is just the weight loss thing. Like this is like literally the gateway drug to everything is your physical transformation, you know. um Bedros Koulian said that, amazing guy, you guys should give him a follow. He said um your higher self, right, is when you can go in front of a mirror, strip down completely naked, and you can look at yourself with this utter, like, most confidence. Like when you have that, no Lamborghini, you could buy a Lamborghini, but that can you could fake confidence with that. You can have a lot of money, you could fake confidence with that, right? You can have all the materialistic things, you can fake confidence with that. You have a great career, you can fake confidence with that. A trophy wife, right? Whatever it is, you can fake all of that. But at the end of the day, when you take off your shirt, everybody knows who you really are behind doors, right? When the lights come off, you know. Um, oh yeah, dude, Bedros Koulian, he's awesome, dude. Here, I'll put it in the chat. Koulian, I don't know how to spell the last name. And it's crazy. I've been following him for like 8 years. Um, but I'll post that. I'll try that. I don't know. He's got a really good book too. It's called Man Up. So give that one a read too. How to cut the bullshit in life and in business. It's super great. A Man Up book. So Man Up is really good. Atomic Habits is really good. Again, this is all mindset stuff, right? Habits, mindset. It's like, hey, you guys are, so I'm your leader, I'm your coach. You guys follow me, right? I give you marching orders on your nutrition, your workouts, and your mindset. So it's like, hey, like if you're following me, don't you want to know what I'm soaking up? Don't you want to know what I'm absorbing as a sponge? Like, how am I thinking the way that I'm thinking? How am I trying to stay as positive as I can throughout the day? How am I trying to ignore roadblocks and temptations? And how am I trying to keep a can-do attitude all the time, looking for solutions and being a go-getter, right? While having all these things. Well, hey, don't you want to know like some of the, I'm not just sitting there like the freaking Instagram all day. Like what am like I was making a joke earlier. James, like I'm the coach that's like not doing the program with you and sitting behind the computer and eating potato chips. Hilarious, bro. But yeah, so like man up. It's really good. Like, he's sitting there telling you things that you need to hear about your life. You get through a lot of stuff, but it's a lot of business practices, a lot of leadership, like leading yourself and like leading others and leading culture. And then he just talks about like taking ownership and not like your typical like David Goggins. Like I get everybody's all hyped about that guy, but like he ain't never gonna be him, right? He's cool, yeah. But this guy's really relatable. Came from a communist country, came from Russia, like when he was like 11, right? And this guy's like doing great now. He's killing it. But it's called Man Up, super good. I think it'll really help like change some of the mindset stuff and the limiting beliefs that you hear about, um, and help you really get like fully committed and like help you man up. That's why it's called Man Up. You know, hey, man up. Like, and it's more than just like, oh yeah, bro, yeah, man up and suck, get some balls. No, it gives you practical reasons why you're not like manning up, right? And the same with Atomic Habits. Um, super good book. Mike, I don't know, have you given that a read?
No, but I've definitely heard it. Heard of
Yes,
it.
super good. Okay, so I'm gonna post both of these in. Bader Kulian.
That's one thing that I haven't really focused a lot on is habits. Like I've focused a lot on mindset, but that's one thing I've struggled with is forming and like I'm stuck to my ways and like forming new habits is something I need to look into. So I'm actually about to get that book right now.
Dude, no, the book's huge, bro. Hey, I'll give you guys brownie points. I'm not even kidding. Like meal prep sessions, like workouts and stuff. If you read that book, like if you're posting in there like things you learned in that chat about that, dude, this book is it's huge. The Atomic Habits, though. Like, I mean, I'm like only 4 chapters in, and this thing's weird. Like, I'm like literally questioning my whole life. I'm like, oh, why did you do that, Mom? Like,
And I don't know about you guys, but I'm not like the type of guy that is really good with like sitting down and reading. So I use Audible and I've had
Audible's
Audible
great.
for probably 6 years and it's changed my life with the
Dude,
information and
yeah,
content. So
it's great because you can also you can listen to when you're working out when you're driving. Like everybody listens to music and stuff. I tell people this all the time. Everybody's listening to music when they're driving in their car. Again, like your subconscious mind, right? You're planting all these seeds in literally reality and shaping that all by like subconsciously your brain like tells your body's telling your brain's telling your body when your heart should beat, right? When you blink. You don't consciously do any of that, right? So it's all subconscious. So it's like you almost like want to go, okay, well, what am I subconsciously listening to, right? When I'm driving, like listening to music, like listen, like do you watch the news? Like, okay, like in this book, like the Man Up book, he talks about that. He goes, he had a client once, this girl, she was, she couldn't figure out what was going on, but she was like really, really anxious all the time. And he's like, I just feel like I have a lot of anxiety. Can't figure it out. And she was like a high level client of his. He talks about it in the book, and he goes, what's your nighttime routine look like? And she says, well, she's like, well, I go to bed, and she's like, I go to bed around this time, and I'm so stressed out from like my work and everything and my business. She's like, I want to like, you know, wind down. So she's like, I just, I put on the news, and then I just kind of watch it and then I pass out. He's like, you leave the news on? She's like, well, yeah. He's like, So for 8 hours straight, subconsciously, see where I'm going with this? She's
Mhm.
listening to, like, you know what the news is like. It's just chaos, corruption, recession, like bad stuff, right? So that's playing in her subconscious mind for 6 to 8 hours at night, every single night. She stopped doing that 3 weeks later, because it takes 21 days to create a new habit. 3 weeks later, all her anxiety was gone. Interesting, right? But yeah, it's just like it's things like that. Like, hey, subconsciously, like, what am I listening to? Like you're just talking about, like you like Audible. I think that's phenomenal. I listen to Audible. I got all my books on Audible. I listen to when I'm driving. I don't listen to music when I'm driving. I listen to Audible. And if I'm not, I'm usually like listening to, like, I don't know, Christian music or something, but or podcast, right? Because then you start to this is the economy. This is the subconscious mind you're changing, right? And then it becomes a habit. And they talk about that also in Atomic Habits. So like it's actually a good pair, those two, those books, really good pair. But it's just like subconsciously. Like when you start to form a habit, it takes 21 days to form a habit. No, 21 days to break a habit, 66 days to create a new one. So when you're doing that day in and day out, like brushing your teeth, putting your shoes on, it's a conscious thing at first, and then it becomes very subconscious. It's automatic, like when you blink or when you get scared, right? It's very subconscious. Um, I'm sure, like when you're doing wires and stuff, James, at your work, like
Right.
when you're like there's probably certain things that you're thinking of, like that. You're like, I can't believe I just did that in like a certain amount of time because you've been
Right.
doing it so long because
Mhm.
it's your subconscious, right?
Right.
So, I mean, so anyways, yeah, I don't know. Mindset, right? Habits, um, staying committed to the plan. Don't give up. Don't be a little bitch. Seriously though, like, it's like if you just committed to this one thing, you would know. You would know if you committed to all this all the way out and you didn't have a plan B and you didn't back out and you didn't crop dust and oh, he talks about that in Man Up, by the way. Crop dust and fighter jets. You know what I mean by that when I always say that. Fighter jet, crop duster, like you'll hear about it. But you'll like you'll know that, hey, like I actually fully committed myself to something for once and I completed it all the way through. And you're like, dude, I didn't give in. I didn't listen to my limiting beliefs. I didn't become a little bitch about it and cry my cornflakes the whole way through. Right? Like you're gonna have your days, you're gonna want to give up, you're gonna have a hard time. Like, but if you just stay committed, just like a Navy SEAL is committed to his mission and a mother is committed to her child, you will get through it and you'll be so proud of yourself. And it'll be like when you got that shirt off and you're doing your testimony video, inspiring others, and you got a chiseled solution, Dabot Academy graduation plaque, like, and you can sit there and go home and freaking take your shirt off and look at yourself in the mirror right before summer and go, you know, nothing can buy this. Because guess what? Working out, having a body, doing all that shit, it's the one thing you can't buy. It's the one thing you can't inherit. It's the one thing that can't get passed down or you can't. You can go get surgery, sure. You could be a loser though, right? There ain't no pill that's gonna fix it. You gotta do it. You gotta do it. So when you look back, you're gonna be like, dude, I'm so proud of myself. You know, you can look back and go, man, was it really that hard though? Because when your habits get put there, like again, becomes subconscious, right? It becomes easier. And like then your metabolism and your hormones in your body start working for you. And this is scientific too. So you can research this. When you get older, like once you get in like phenomenal shape, it is you don't actually have to work out as hard, right? You don't have to be as dialed in with your nutrition because your metabolism and your body, it's like your circadian rhythm, all of that stuff is working for you completely. Like you think your body drops like 3%, 5%, your metabolism drops every single year you don't exercise and take care of yourself. Imagine what it's like by the time you're like 70, 60. I mean, like if you make it that far, right? But yeah, so um, yeah. Mindset. Yeah. But hey, those two books though, you use one on. So here's the cool thing about the Atomic Habits I would read. I have the physical copy. The Man Up, I have the Audible. Why? Because it's actually him narrating it. The other people don't. Most people don't. It's like this, hey, and then chapter two, no, he's like literally talking. So it's great. And you find that guy on YouTube too, but he's great. So um, yeah, but mindset. Don't quit on yourself. Any questions? We got 2 minutes and 34 seconds.
I don't really have anything as of right now. I mean, it all makes sense. Mind step is like the building blocks for anything, whether you succeed or the reason why you get up and go to work in the morning, the reason why you have a roof over your head, all that stuff. You got to have a good mindset. Anybody can just throw away everything and not do something for themselves and go live on the streets and get handouts, you know. But then it takes somebody to actually really go out there and get something, whether it's for yourself or the people you love. So,
Yeah, I love that. And I actually, before anybody even hopped on this call, because I think I was on here 5 minutes waiting, I just started talking because you guys are gonna have video later, anyways, right? I was like, I'm not gonna just log off. So, but that was one thing I was gonna say is mindset versus like, yeah, you get it. It's just a language, right? Mindset versus mind shift. I call it mind shift, right? Because mindset, you're like set on something rather than, hey, my mind shift. I'm shifting my belief. I'm shifting my way out of this weight loss. I'm shifting into my higher self. I'm shifting, right? You're consistently shifting yourself and becoming more, right? Becoming better, right? And but yeah, so I like it. You're the man who can. Well, I think this thing's got 1 minute left. So I actually looked into upgrading to the pro, but I'm like, I like having a time crunch. I don't know if I want to spend like 3 hours with you guys on the phone, but yeah. But I'm probably gonna get it. I'm probably gonna get it. I might get it. I'll probably get it tomorrow. Yeah. Yeah. So it's got more things, but yeah. Post some takeaways you got from this. I'll post a video inside the chat. But post some takeaways maybe that you got or didn't get, and we'll go from there.
all righty.
Cool.
I'm good.
See you guys.
All right. Have a great night, guys.
See ya.
Have a good night, man.